then just a smaller thing from like Ulf, man, this James, this totally reminded me of you. I can totally see you just like coming over and be like, hey, can you like this guy like forgot to, pay his tab. Can you just can you
Yeah,
just
like,
let it
hey, by the
pass?
way, I promised this guy like a wife, and this
Yeah.
guy
And it's like they
he
take
needs
it
like
back to like
22 crowns.
the mayor of San Diego and be like, hey, could you like pardon my boy's bar tab here? And he's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Whose name? What was the line? Like, whose name did you use when you made these promises? Like
Yes,
behind
yes,
whose
yeah, yeah.
name? It was
Yeah,
a
he's like, this is not in your, and she also said, not in your name. These
yeah,
requests aren't in your name. This is for like these random ass fuckers. But at the same time, I'm like, damn, so they're really just gonna shut him down. But then when Ulf is like, hey, by the way, because I'm out at all these bars that you're now disallowing me to, guess what I've seen?
yeah.
And right, the hesitation comes in because the King's Guard is there, like, what the fuck did you say? But he's guys, he is delivering a message that is not his words. Put your fucking sword away. Put your fucking sword away. Okay. He's
Yeah.
letting you know what he sees out there. And that's why it may seem like, and rightfully so, Rhaenyra's like, dude, you have a dragon. If you die, like, what is the kingdom losing? Great point. But at the
Yep.
same time, he's showing the value of him being the man at the bar, right? He wanted to go to the bar and chill out with his homies. He gets to see how the public is taking in her and her power.
Hmm.
What is their perspective? What is their opinion on that? So I felt like, hey, send his ass back to the bar. Maybe send him with a guard or two, but he provides some valuable insight into the public's viewpoint on her rule so far.
Yeah, it's another perspective, and that's actually a really good point. I didn't think about that.
Hello and welcome to the Premier Squad podcast, and more importantly, welcome to Westeros, House of the Dragon, season 3, episodes 3 and 4. I have James here with me today. I am your host, Jerome. We'll be going through it on this breakdown. James, my first question to you, and what I really admired was I feel like a big risk for them is all of episode 3 is all about administrative duties. And I don't know how you felt, but that camera is focused on Rhaenyra for so much of it. Her reactions, her stress, everything she's going through. I really appreciated it. How did you feel about episode 3?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. I really loved the fact that we've spent 2 seasons now watching this character scratch and claw. And then before that, dream about this great honor it is that her father
Yes.
told her that you are my next in line. It's more than a duty to her. This is what she truly feels is her family, her right by blood.
Hmm.
And now this is the episode where she gets it. It's essentially like an obsession where the guy gets everything he wanted, but it's like,
Yes.
dude,
Is it what you
she,
wanted?
she has gotten everything she wanted in terms of getting the throne. In addition
Yes.
to the throne, all the duties that come with it. And we get to
Yes.
see a breakdown of dealing with the people, dealing with your staff, dealing with the resources available to your kingdom, dealing with
Hmm.
the sabotage set up by the
Yes.
previous regime.
The rats, man. The
The
rats.
rats, it's so there's so
Because he,
much.
yeah,
They
killed all
they
the rat catchers. That's
I
great.
think yes, I was just gonna bring that up. They're like, well, we're
Yeah.
just call the rat catcher. It's like, well, the previous guy hung all of them. You know,
Yes.
it's like, well, shoot. So
Yeah.
I
I feel
really,
like, yeah, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
just thoroughly enjoyed the episode. I enjoyed everything about this. I know on the flip side, some people might think it's slow and brooding and
Yeah.
maybe focusing too much on Rhaenyra, but I feel that it's the exact point of this.
Yes. And like the way that the tension builds and like the anxiety of the next choice and fuck, I got to take care of this and I got this and then this is on the plane. And Corliss is here. Like the way her facial expressions, her body language carried throughout the show shows why like I feel like Emma Darcy is deserving of all the praise in the world
She's
because
a theater
everything it
actor,
was all
yeah.
about her. Yes. So like really seeing that come through, and it's funny too because I got my partner in the background watching this, And that when she's getting dressed to go about her day, she's like, "Fuck, I'm bleeding." Immediately, my partner, who's not even watching, goes, "She had her period," and I was like, "Yep, that's like 100%." And that's such like a thing that I feel like in a lot of fiction that we go through, because a lot of it's written by men, gets skipped over a lot. And I feel like that's like really like a good moment for like especially the women who enjoy the show, and for us as men too, to really be like, damn, like she has that on top of everything else. Like they threw that in there as like a shout out to when a lot of women have to go through that, go through the struggles of the day, and they have that shit on top of it, it can get lost. So I felt like that was icing on the cake.
Great point.
um
Great point. That's actually
yeah.
tied in, if I could interject real quick,
Yes, go ahead.
to the first scene we see of Emma Darcy playing Rhaenyra, where
Hmm.
she just came out of childbirth and she's walking up those stairs.
Yeah.
And then it also ties back to another scene. I don't quite remember, but I think it's from season one,
Hmm.
where she says, "I didn't choose to be a woman,
Yes.
but I have to deal with, you know,
That's true.
things that
That's
it happens,
true.
and
Yeah.
earlier in this season where she's got locked in her room and she has that comment of, I may look and may look like a frail woman or something like that, but I have the
Hmm.
heart of a king.
Yes.
Again, to her, it's the theme of Rhaenyra facing an uphill battle, just waking up in the body that she lives in or was
Yes.
born into.
Yep. And then every time she has to like sit down at that table and it feels like less, like it already starts with less than like 50% of the seats filled. And then Corliss is standing up, walking away. Oh, it's on you, turns his back, and kind of rightfully so. And I feel like that's one of the interesting things that I wanted to get your opinion on is the way that Rhaenyra rejects Corliss's request to have his sons turn into legitimate heirs. How did you feel about how that was handled?
Why? What did he say? Why should my
Like,
house?
why do you have your bastards
Yeah, and they can be
legitimate?
legitimized,
Yes.
but like I'm asking
Yes.
for all this, and it ties into the whole theme of the episode three,
Hmm.
of her trying to accepting the burden of this throne
Yep.
and having to deal with the consequences, both positive and negative. And by negative, I mean your allies coming to you with their requests, what you had promised
Yep.
them, and now it's like, by the way, I mean, not to get off topic, but same thing with Allison, where she's like, yeah, you can
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
but hold on, we got to get your son's head. He needs to be delivered here first before
Oh
I can
my
let you
God.
free, right? But we'll,
Yeah.
we'll
And
get
it's
to that.
so, yeah. I was just going to say, it's so interesting touching on that point. Like the way that she's like resolving and coming up with what she needs to do next with the whole Allison situation is very interesting. That's such like a fine line that she's walking, right? A razor thin edge that could really teeter to either side of like trying to take in that complex issue of what to do with her, what to do with her family. I just killed her dad. Her son's out there. I got to kill him. I got to say the other one's dead. I got to say Aegon's dead. I got to take care of her. I got to ask her for advice. I got to reassure her, but I can't let her out of the castle. Like it's very interesting to like see her like her childhood friend that now you're in this position of what do I do with you? What is appropriate for me as a ruler? What is appropriate for me as a friend? That's someone that's come to you in times of need. So like I feel like the way that she goes back and forth with giving something to her and then taking something away is very like powerful in terms of yeah, just the stress that caused with that particular relationship.
Yeah, and it ties into the Corliss relationship too.
Hmm.
A lot of those points can go to that, where it's like, oh, what can I give him? But what can I can't do this because it's going to look a certain way. Again, this is
Yeah.
already her getting the CEO and president role and kind of buckling to the different demands of all your executive managers and the board of directors that
Yeah.
you have to answer to,
Yep.
while dealing with the company resources. It's a lot.
Hmm.
And I mean, to answer your question earlier about like, how did I feel on it?
Yeah.
I felt as a ruler, she did the right thing in terms of up, keeping up appearances to your people. But at the same
Yeah.
time, okay, now we need to keep you to this standard. And on the flip side
Yes.
of the scale, like you better be keeping up those kinds of appearances with all the rest of your decisions that you need to make being a ruler.
Yeah. And then even like because of her previous decisions and like the way that she's bringing dragons in, like her going to the church and being like, "Hey, like I need this official ceremony," and that whole dispute too, just like it was just once again thing after thing that just provided more and more obstacles for her to like not have the time to appreciate what she's had. But at the same time, she could like, I appreciate that she keeps chugging along through the episode to like handle the, at the very end. And it's a cool, interesting idea that they have both episodes 3 and 4 end with, one of our main characters kind of right next to fire and like what's inside them for like their ability to like burn something to the ground, or maybe it's just like that aggressive side that you can see between her and Ormond in episode 4. Um, what's there? But yeah, I mean, and every single time she looked, there was another rat. And I love that. Every single time the problem she thought like, okay, I handled this problem, she looks, there's another rat coming through. So I felt like that turn at the end when she has all the nobles sit down. And I felt like she was actually going to deliver to them like something good. And it ended up being a plate of rats for each one of them. How did you feel about that?
Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. She was standing up for her people, and by her people means the common folk. She
Yes.
kept making those sly comments like 2 or 3 times about how, oh, I wish you guys had feel like kneeled or bowed or went, gave your vows like earlier than you did. It took a while,
Yes.
but you guys, didn't do it as fast as I would have liked.
Yeah,
And
and earlier in the episode, when she sits there and she listens to the lady at her request talking about what the nobles are doing while the poor starve,
mhm.
and like throughout that those request hearings, I forget what they're called, but Corliss kind of saying like, "Hey, this is like a conversation for somewhere else type of situation. Like we need to have this internally." But Rhaenyra is so, I feel like responsive. She feels that sense of responsibility to like handle that here and now with her, like herself. Like this is my problem to talk about, even though it may not be. That's the people you need. You need to find your trusted sources, your board of executives, like you talked about. But she's very much like, I need to be in this, and she doesn't really understand how overwhelming that can be. Up until this point, she's still taking it on. So then that's like much respect because this is the first time like we really get to see that breakdown of duties, as the one who sits the Iron Throne. So that was very powerful.
How do you think? Let
Anything?
me ask you this. What do you think
Yeah,
about how much of this is her kind of dealing with this responsibility in a way that would please her father, and how much of this would be her fighting against her own nature to want to burn everything down?
that's a great question because like you see
Like,
obviously that aggressive side in
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
her uncle, some of her nephews and stuff like that. That family tree is ridiculous, but in some of the other Targaryen bloodline, that stuff is like raring to go. But for some reason, her dad was very much slow burn, taking everything like uh nicely, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I feel like she has a lot of that in her, but it's interesting because in so much in like season 1 and season 2, or really season 2, she's like so down to like, all right, let me jump into this battle, let me show that side. But here it's really that like, what kind of how much of either one of those two ideals am I really going to push for? So I feel like she's finding a really good balance between the two.
Do you think that it would cause conflict for her later on? Like, she's going to have to pick between following what she wants to do and then what she thinks she has to do. And I
Yeah,
guess
like
that's
like
also what
Allison
this
was talking to
episode
her about.
illustrates. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. I
Yeah.
was just going to bring that up. And
Yeah,
again,
and
that
she's like,
shows
you're
too,
not going to be the ruler you want to be.
yep, yep, you're going to have to do things, right? That
Hmm.
you're not going to be proud of. You're going to have to look away as innocents are burned
Yes,
alive and
exactly.
stuff like that. I really enjoyed that because for a little bit of the season, I was waiting for more of the balance of the green
Yeah.
giving the black a little bit more to chew on in terms of some kind of opposition, whether
Yes,
it be
exactly. Hmm.
through conflict or intellectually,
Yep.
which is what we got because essentially this is, especially episode 3, the new regime
Hmm.
coming in, and to the point you were just talking about, that was illustrated really well with the scene where Alicent and Rhaenyra talk, and it's very much
Yeah.
Rhaenyra's asking her, "How did you do this?" And make
Yeah.
it kind of
Yeah.
look as
And from
effortless as you made it seem.
Yeah, and then from Allison's perspective, like, and this is really cool. Like I talked about Rhaenyra's side in terms of how to handle that relationship, but then Allison too of like, what do I have to give you? I've given you so much already. You've taken my father. You're talking about taking my other family members. What? Yet there's these little tidbits, like when Rhaenyra asks her, like, how do you do this? Allison gives her a very genuine response, and warns her about how there's certain things that may not be within your wheelhouse that you're gonna have to do. And Rhaenyra responds to that is like, well, why can't I be myself? Is that really impossible? And then Allison has that appropriate response, like, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what of you is left after this stuff is over. So
Mm.
yeah, that stuff's really interesting. And then like to your point, like getting into episode 4, um, back to like the administration. So now we get to see her start to build her board of executives, like you were talking about. What I feel like was like a masterstroke from I don't know if this is on purpose or if it's by accident, but Corliss telling Alan like to take my place, I feel like is actually amazing for the Corliss Rhaenyra relationship because I feel like Alan kind of understands. He'll be that more compassionate side of understanding what Rhaenyra is going through and be less like like his dad, and like, oh, this is bullshit. And he's
Mhm.
already kind of burnt that bridge when he doesn't come to the chamber and talk, and he's like throwing the bastards in her face, so to speak. And it's arguable whether she burned the bridge or he did, but their relationship right now is not available to happen. And sometimes, whether it's like a partner or whatever it is, to send like what is it, envoy in your place,
Yeah.
Alan is like the perfect person to mend that relationship. And I really appreciate a very small detail. But when Rhaenyra is like, all right, everybody needs to clear the room, it cuts right to Alan being the first one to stand up.
Oh, really?
And
What a good
yes,
catch.
um, and then when he first shows up and is like, hey, Corliss, is going to be out, I'm going to be taking the place. Rhaenyra's like, yeah, like our fathers like builds that relationship with him, talking about her dad and how it may relate to Alan and his dad. So I
Hmm.
feel like, yeah, Alan is that perfect person to be able to mend the relationship between Corliss, and then proving himself naturally would lead, in my opinion, would lead Rhaenyra to give Corliss what he wants in terms of legitimizing both of his sons.
Yeah, and it gives Alan of Hull over here the platform by being on that
Hmm.
council to essentially earn his title or
Yes.
his family name. And
Yes.
it's a public position, so the people will see that.
Yes.
I mean, for whatever actions he takes via
Yeah.
the orders of the crown or for the crown, it'll be easier to legitimize him in front of the eyes of the people.
Yes. And then so we move from Alan. So then now we have Orwell. The Grand Maester is there, and he's been passed around everybody at this point in time, almost losing his head because he might have been the highest standing member that was left over from the High Towers.
Hmm.
But I really respected like too. Once again, this is what I appreciate about Rhaenyra's perspective is that she really wants to slow things down and take things as they come and not overreact to things and hear. And we'll get more onto that in a little bit. But with Orwell specifically, like she goes and talks to him about the whole situation with the church. And like I felt like his line of like, are these symbols not power enough? Are these symbols of power enough? And I appreciated that from him because it's once again giving her that perspective that I don't know if she could find that in other people on the around the table. So I just thought that like Orwell is like another good choice by her to when she slows things down, she's like, okay, we're not going to kill you, but I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to have several conversations with you. That Orwell's like mindset is in the right place to support her.
He's very much like is similar but different in terms of like the spider, where it's like, who do you serve? I serve the realm.
Hmm.
I do feel
Yeah.
like Orwell is like
Yes.
that kind of character who's like, I'm here to serve the realm.
Hmm.
Um, do you think, I guess, talking about people who could potentially work on a council, Manderley, he
Okay, yeah,
he
yep,
was also somebody kind of questioned by Rhaenyra. She's like, "Hey, you're one of these nobles on that was storing up," and then he was like,
yep.
"Hey, you're taking my shit, but like, what did you
Yeah, he's
expect me to
smiling
do?"
about it. He's like, "Oh, that was
He's
well
like, "Yeah,
played," and
cool.
he's
Like, I'm
smiling
here
about it.
to."
Yeah,
So it's one of those things. Like, is this somebody that you feel like uh, he could be an asset if they added him to the council? You think,
yeah.
or
So he
because he
comes on
provides that
as
other
the
perspective?
yeah he comes in as the master of coin, and I'm like interesting because uh, what's her name? My Mysaria.
Hmm.
The fucking names too. The names on the show. I apologize if I fucked up her name,
Hey,
but was like, hey, we need to put someone in the master coin and then just pin this on them, right? And Rhaenyra has that line to Manderley in the previous episode at the end of the rats dinner, where she's like, my no, that's not what was long. My memory is long.
oh, I
Talking about
remember
that,
that.
like,
That was an
yes,
incredible
because he's
line.
sitting there cheesing, and I don't know, you can't tell, is he really appreciating her? Is he being sarcastic? Like, what's going on in his head when
Yeah.
he's dealing with her at that time? So her response to that, now we bring it back to having Manderley sit at the table with everybody. Is she setting him up? Does she actually see something within him that can contribute to the council, or is he just going to be that figurehead that they can lop off later when if things go mad as the master of coin with the situation that they have with money currently?
But also, it could be a good thing that she's appointing somebody who had coin to be the master of
Hmm.
coin instead of like, so there's
Yeah.
got to be some value or some legitimacy to putting a rich dude as the master of coin.
Yep. And then we move on to that. Then we have Damon there, and he's gone for most of the episode, and like what I really like appreciate is that is right. We talked about earlier. That is that aggressive side, right? That got auto killed. Um, that's her little devil on the side of her
Mhm.
shoulder, right? That's telling her what the aggressive move is and to act on that as quickly as possible. So, but what I found super interesting about Damon is when he's flying his dragon, now his dragon gets sidetracked by Sheep Stealer. He sits down, and I feel like for the first time in a long time, man, it really feels like the first time that I've really like seen Damon have some humanity. Maybe I'm just like forgetting, but it's been a while. Um, he sits there with Reyna, and then he was like, I really got to see that humanity in him, for once, that he sees his daughter, she's freaking out. He's coming to terms with everything that's presented in front of him in terms of, well, that's sheep stealer. You're here. You're the rider. What the fuck happened? So I thought that was a very powerful scene. Um, and then the dragons too. Like the every time the dragons come on screen, like I'm really appreciative of the sounds that they give them, like the little squeals
Yep.
that
Yep.
hit that Damon's dragon had. What did you like anything coming out of that Reina scene?
I have to say you have your choice on if Damon would pick his family or Rhaenyra. He
Yeah.
essentially picked his family. He's betrayed his queen at
Yeah.
this point. He's betrayed her.
Yes.
He
Yep.
knows how much Jace meant to Rhaenyra, and he holds like this big gaping hole in secret that he knows would get himself or anybody else killed if but he said, no, I'm picking my daughter. I'm gonna frame it
Yeah.
on, the farmer on
The farm that
it
the goat
is what it
farmer,
is. And the fact that he didn't struggle with it or anything, he
the goat
just
stealer.
went, made his choice and things happened. So
Yeah.
uh
And then you get that, like we talked about earlier, that piece where Rhaenyra's like, I wanted to talk to him. And
mhm.
it was super interesting because he was just like, yeah, like he's dead. I brought you justice. And you can really see that, like, once again, that side of like wanting to understand the situation, which will come with kind of maybe thinking through this potentially, as the episodes go on. Is that really the person? Is there some sort of question there? And that's what that slow thinking can really get for you, is that understanding of like, am I being duped here?
Mhm.
So then that, yeah, it's tough. It's tough because Reina's just obviously like she's kind of set on what she's going to do. So Damon's put in that place to, like, he shows that concern. Is so great. That emotion he showed for his daughter, that concern for her, to make that choice. And we'll see how, that gets brought into the light as future episodes go on or not.
Yeah, it shows growth. You get the earlier episodes with Damon believing in the prophecies and stuff because of last season. This guy
Hmm.
fully believes in, the Song of Ice and Fire. And then now,
Yeah,
it's great to see his growth in terms of being a father, actually showing compassion. It just comes
yeah,
at the cost of betraying your queen.
yeah,
Like this is a huge transgression, and
yeah,
I don't think if she finds out, there's no going back to this.
yeah. That's
Husband or
crazy
not,
too. And
it's already
like,
been on husband, uncle, or not, or both, or all three.
yeah, it's everything. It's everything at this point. And it's so interesting too, because going back to episode 3 for a quick scene, like that may have been like one of her only times for reprieve is like laying down in that bed and like snuggling up on his chest.
Mhm.
Like, man, I just feel bad. Like Rhaenyra is amazing.
Her
It's
only
like
moments of
the
rest.
acting and everything going through this, and like that is the one moment reprieve, and even he's gonna like, and it makes so much sense too, because right, because Rhaena's like, hey, like I'm always just pushed to the side. I'm always pushed aside. Even you, as my dad, you have to acknowledge that he has nothing to say because he
Hmm.
knows it's true.
Yep.
So that's going to be a fascinating thing to go on. And then my last little scene, kind of from the council, not from one like, oh well, actually two more. You have my Sari in there, knowing that Damon's lying because she's obviously dealt with his bullshit for forever. Um, all that stuff, like, because they're kind of right at odds to their positions at Rhaenyra's side. So her already knowing like, hey, something sniffs, something smells like shit here. What is
Yeah.
it, Damon? Tell me what's
Yeah.
going on. So
Yeah.
the overall, the council as a whole, like I'm just appreciating the characterization that we're getting there as she's filling the seats at the table. Um then just a smaller thing from like Ulf, man, this James, this totally reminded me of you. I can totally see you just like coming over and be like, hey, can you like this guy like forgot to, pay his tab. Can you just can you
Yeah.
just
Like,
let it
hey, by the
pass?
way, I promised this guy like a wife, and this
Yeah.
guy
And it's like
he
you're
needs
taking
like
that to like
22 crowns.
the mayor of San Diego. I mean, like, hey, could you like pardon my boy's bar tab here? And he's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Whose name? What was the line? Like, whose name did you use when you made these promises? Like
Yes,
behind
yes,
whose
yeah, yeah.
name? It was
Yeah,
a
he's like, this is not in your, and she also said, not in your name. These
yeah,
requests aren't
yeah,
in your name. This is for like these random ass fuckers. But at the same time, I'm like, damn, so they're really just going to shut him down. But then when Ulf is like, hey, by the way, because I'm out at all these bars that you're now disallowing me to, guess what I've seen?
yeah.
And right, the hesitation comes in because the King's Guard is there, like, what the fuck did you say? But guys, he is delivering a message that is not his words. Put your fucking sword away. Put your fucking sword away. Okay. He's
Yeah.
letting you know what he sees out there. And that's why it may seem like, and rightfully so, Rhaenyra's like, dude, you have a dragon. If you die, like, what is the kingdom losing? Great point. But at the
Yep.
same time, he's showing the value of him being the man at the bar, right? He wanted to go to the bar and chill out with his homies. He gets to see how the public is taking in her and her power.
Hmm.
What is their perspective? What is their opinion on that? So I felt like, hey, send his ass back to the bar. Maybe send him with a guard or two, but he provides some valuable insight into the public's viewpoint on her rule so far.
Yeah, it's another perspective, and that's actually a really good point. I didn't think about that. I just took it as
Hmm.
it was when I was watching this, but that's a great both Ulf and Hugh Hammer. Hugh Hammer getting
Yeah,
sent for his own personal, wants and desires
yeah,
to go
sure.
back to where was it, like Old Town, where his wife is
No,
with the other
Templeton.
yeah, some other town. The one that
Yeah,
Ormond is like
yep, is occupying.
occupying.
Yeah,
It's another. You're a herald of the queen. So by them being there, it's them showing the power. But also, technically, so is Ormond. So
yes,
technically, he's on paper employed with this company, but really, he's working for these.
Templeton. Templeton.
Okay,
Sorry,
okay,
dude. Viewers out there, I apologize. These names and these towns and all these fuckers with like the same name,
yeah.
a lot to recall in the moment.
So I
But
guess.
I think
Oh,
that's actually a great transition to lead us over to Ormond's side. Now we can kind of talk about his role. James, I have a feeling that you're a pretty big fan of Ormond. Tell me how you feel about this character. Well,
Actually,
we got to see his real intro in this episode.
yeah, yeah. Actually, I'm not really much of a fan,
Oh, okay.
but I can see why he's doing what he's doing. He's essentially staying loyal to the green. He's
Hmm.
staying loyal to the green. And
Yeah,
I
he is
don't
that.
know if
He
it's
is. He is
because
all Hightower. Yeah.
his uncle was beheaded. I don't know if it's you don't really know what kind of allegiance he kind of. I mean, you know his allegiance, but you don't know kind of like what's driving him, other than
Yes.
he's got a weakness for bad smells, right? And I hope that ties into however his downfall eventually comes about, because I hope that him sniffing all that, it has him like putting all the flowers and stuff and making
Yes. Yep.
little
All the good
concoctions, and
sense. Hmm.
essentially he's kind of like a twisted like Obi-Wan Kenobi to the Luke
That's
Skywalker and
fair. I
Darien.
like that.
He's sort
Yes.
of giving him all the wrong kinds of lessons. But I mean, I say wrong in terms of a viewer watching your
Yeah.
quote unquote bad guy
Yes.
essentially
As
corrupting
he is setting up
an
as the
innocent
villain.
kid.
Yeah.
But then again,
Yeah. And then go ahead.
I was gonna say this could just be means for him teaching the kid about survival.
Yeah.
Because what he like killing the other, like, okay, he brought in fair points, like, oh, we need to go reprimand the guard by breaking his arm. Hey, by the way, the guy that turned the guard in, we need to go ahead and behead him or stab him and then burn his body.
Yeah.
It's kind of a
It's
twisted way of teaching him how to survive.
it's like Rhaenyra kind of, what am I supposed to do in this situation? I gotta choose one of these sides. I'm trying to choose both. How is that going to come to impact? And then similarly to Allison's conversation with Rhaenyra of like, hey, this will change you. There are things you need to do that you didn't think you had to do, and you got to turn your cheek to it. Very similar with what um Ormond is teaching Darren. You
Hmm.
got to do this, dude. You got to take this life, even because Darren's sitting there like, I want to spare him. Like he was protecting what he needs to do, but at the same time, it's like, well, what does that say for the morale of your warriors, right? Your army.
Yep.
So, and then,
And
it's
he wanted to,
fascinating too,
oh,
because go ahead,
I was saying, and he
go
wanted
ahead,
him to fucking get rid of his dragon.
but he understands the power that dragons have, man, and like that ending scene of like him lighting him on fire with Ormond standing there watching, and then it fades to black and you hear him like crunching. This man really roasted his own food and then ate it. That shit was hilarious. That dragon, that was hilarious.
Yep. Yep.
Um, but like to Ormond's point, I really appreciated this episode. One of the things that we touched upon earlier on in the show was when it was with Cole's group and that one warrior had just raped one of the town women, and she goes scurrying off, and then there's nothing there. Like Cole's guy just kind of gets free of that, right? Cole has no like justice for him or anything, but I really appreciated that Ormond was like, okay, like let me hear you out. Okay, this is what you decided to do. This is going to be your consequences.
Here's your punishment. Yeah.
Yep. And then
But
at the same time too, like it's so funny because then that guy's like, I have a wife, and I'm like, bro, you just doubled down on why what you did was stupid. Like it's ridiculous. So I appreciated like Ormond being able to like figure out how to give consequences to his horny ass ugly soldiers versus like Cole's guys of kind of just letting them run free. Like there has to be a balance there, like he talked about, that you have to give to the people that you're invading so that they don't just do whatever's possible to survive. Because then, if those people get out and there's no one left there to protect or to protect for Rhaenyra, dragons come in and it's all over.
yep.
So you have to keep somewhat a level of trust there with them in order to occupy that city effectively.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, when I'm talking about this character, I thoroughly think he's just playing both sides, but really here for the green. Yeah, I really don't think
Yeah,
he's well, what's the word? I really don't think he's actually that smart as he wants to think he is. But he's just
yeah, like
doing,
Allison talks about. Yeah.
yeah, he's just doing moves that make sense. So
Hmm.
yeah. And those are my thoughts on Ormond.
Yeah. And then too, like I appreciate too that other side of that craziness side of him, right? That we get to see him as this cold and like calculated person throughout the episode. But then when he gets that letter from Cole saying that like, oh yeah, like we're gonna do this, and he's just fucking pissed, and he's like, Darren knows right now, like everybody get out, like no one else can see this, and then
Aaron already
Orman just
knew.
loses his fucking shit. Like I love seeing just a tinge of that on the side because when shit goes down and it's time to scrap, I have full belief now that he'll channel stuff like that, channel that rage to be able to deliver something effectively instead of just being the calculated person, right? You gotta have that crazy as fuck side in order to have leadership skills to have that aggressive side of leadership skills,
How do you think
on the
he's
Iron
gonna
Throne.
how do you think he's gonna react when his one true heir, Aegon the Second, comes through, like, and he sees the temperament of Aegon?
Yeah.
How do you
Um,
think he's gonna react to this? You think
Ormond,
he's gonna yeah, do you think he's gonna agree with the brattiness that is Aegon, or do you think Aegon will have
man,
this Jamie
I think,
Lannister transformative
yeah,
journey?
I feel like I would say at this point that he would just kill Aegon and just be like, Darren's the guy. Darren's the guy. Like I
Yep,
feel like
yep.
he has more because and it's too it's obviously like his fascination with the high tower side of things would also speak to that point because Aegon looks like a Targaryen. He is a Targaryen. He looks like a Targaryen, whereas Darren holds that side. The real Darren, not fake Darren here we have on screen. But the real Darren has that high tower side, that high tower look to him, which is
Mhm.
very important, inside this world. So I feel like, yeah, Aegon would be dead. But I feel like that's a perfect transition too for us to talk about the third group in here, that was available in episode 4, Laris and Aegon. And while they are getting like the least amount of screen time, like I am really appreciating their journey. I'm really appreciating how Laris having to fucking come up with like having to be so far ahead in the chess moves to keep them alive, and Aegon keeps fucking it up.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, Aegon. I meant
Aegon the
Mangle
Second.
Face.
Oh, Mangle
Mangle.
Face.
Yeah, he's getting shit on as a commoner. He really gets to see what he is like posed on to others in his time as leadership. So yeah, and Laris is having to be like, dude, like you have to embrace this side of it. And I felt like the line of this episode was when Laris has said, anonymity is a boon for us. We have to understand that right now. With the way that things are, with the dragons that are, you know, on available to, black side versus green side, obviously overwhelming to Rhaenyra's point right now, their ability to stay underneath it and behind the veil is very important to their survival.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
Do you
Go
think
ahead.
that this is very similar? Their journey is very similar to Brienne of Tarth and Jamie
Yeah.
Lannister going through
Yeah.
that journey in season 4 of Game of Thrones. And this whole ending scene of him, or for his storyline, of him kissing the shoes of that one guard, do you think that's enough of an experience to sort of
Man,
deter Aegon from being an idiot?
I'm not gonna lie, I really thought that man was about to drop his pants. I thought it was gonna be worse. I thought it was
Hey,
gonna be
me
worse.
too.
And
Me too.
I thought he was gonna drop his pants and be like, hey man, like you want to sit here and talk this shit? Cause yeah, Aegon just I mean, Mangle Face comes so hard at him in terms of like this is not how you run this shit and talking so much shit like he's the king and you're not that right now. And he
Yeah.
needs to learn that. And like even Laris in the background getting held back, like, oh my God, he's gonna fuck up everything.
Yep.
I had to give pennies to this guy. I had to make sure we weren't killed because we're both fucking crippled as shit. And this motherfucker's looking at me like, hey, he's got more than a few pennies. So instead of touching this dragon, let me just put you
Touch.
6 feet under.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it's funny. It reminds me of a scene from The Hateful Eight when Samuel L. Jackson. So something similar happens,
Yeah.
uh, which is really funny. With Samuel L. Jackson dropping his pants and telling one of the dudes,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, you better suck this thing right." Anyway, it doesn't matter.
But yeah,
Uh,
back to your question, just yeah, I feel like he need like I would actually expect something of that level of
Trauma.
disgust and disrespect to have to
Yeah.
like give oral fellatio to another man, um, to like really. bring him down to like where he needs to be.
Mm.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting. So which like bringing all that together, which of these three have you appreciated most? How would you rank them between
Rhaenyra.
these three
Rhaenyra is
storylines
number
in
one.
episode
I'm
four?
just
Okay.
Rhaenyra is number one. What is it? Then it's Ormond and then Aegon,
Yeah.
essentially.
Mangle face and tangle tongue.
Maybe Ormond, just because we're getting like the villain, the other side of it.
Yeah.
The Aegon stuff, I understand why it's happening. It just, as a viewer, it's not really engaging for me
Okay.
personally. But it's not like it's bad or anything. This is stuff that we need to see. We need to see what they're
Yes.
doing on the other. Just for whatever reason, it's not
Yeah.
gripping. And that's a personal viewer issue.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
No
not like
problem.
it's
No
terrible,
problem.
but it just isn't. It's like, oh, they're on screen. Like, obviously, I'm going to watch the whole thing, but I
Hmm.
might go to the bathroom real quick or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And maybe too, like that just kind of how it sets it up to be like the way that, Emma Darcy played in episode three, like, and obviously carries over to episode four. She is such just a force on screen. And
Captivating,
what I think
yes.
I appreciate is that I'm gaining interest in Ormond. I'm feeling like, it's not as overwhelming as I think in favor of her. And he's building his case to be like that opposing force to Rhaenyra,
Mhm.
Iron on the Iron Throne. So yeah, and then with the whole Laris and Aegon thing and Mingle face, like I've liked it. I've liked how much he's played into the like not being able to accept his role as a fucking nobody, as less than a nobody at this point, as a cripple, as a Mingle face in terms of like the hierarchy that he's having to like, hey, you gotta separate the piss and shit, make sure you don't fuck that up. So like for me, all like three parts have hit really well, and I'm just happy that Rhaenyra isn't just completely outshining the other two storylines, and really just Ormond, because I feel like her like skill requires someone else to be able to show that they have something there,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
so that it seems plausible for Ormond's side to really combat the dragons and combat Rhaenyra.
He's got to be a force. He's got to be a force to be reckoned with.
Hmm.
Uh, and I do feel like Aegon the Second and Larys have like the biggest hill to climb on their
Yeah,
end. They have a very
yeah,
physical hill to climb, whereas Rhaenyra has more of an intellectual or like, no, maybe not intellectual, technical hill they have to
yeah.
climb, an economic hill, so to
Yes,
say.
an administrative hill.
Yeah, yeah, better. That's a better way to put it.
Exactly. So, yeah, but with that, guys, we really appreciate you joining us here. Please consider liking the video, subscribing to us, and we will see you in the next one. Thank you.